everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Kaylee. I'm an online reseller. I go to thrift stores and I pick up items to resell online on sites like eBay and Poshmark. This is how I make quite a bit of my income. In today's video, we're actually going to be talking about all of my reselling income from 2020, do a quick breakdown, and then look at some things that I learned along the way. This is just a way to document my journey and hopefully help anybody that is on the same journey. If you like reseller content and you want to learn how to sell on sites like eBay and Poshmark, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell. My name is spelled kind of weird, so you might not remember how to spell it. Best to just subscribe now. For people that do watch my channel, I mentioned in my goals for 2021 video that I was going to be doing a video for 2020 and going over just how that year went. As far as overall how that year went, I think I know how we all feel about 2020, but for my reselling business, it was actually a pretty good year. So in just a moment, I'm going to break down what I made reselling and also go over YouTube and a couple of my affiliate income. Just a quick note, because I know I'm going to get asked, I have mentioned this before in previous videos, but this is not my sole source of income. This is probably about half of my income, and I pretty much put part-time hours into this business. So reselling can be a great way to supplement income that you already have coming in and work around a job that you already have. It's also important to note that this did not happen overnight, and I have been working on my reselling business part-time for a few years now. I really think that this year is the year I really started treating it more like a business and less like a hobby, as I saw income starting to roll in and realized that this had a lot of potential. And I really buckled down and treated it like an actual business rather than me just working as an employee in a hobby. And I'm not sharing these numbers to upset anyone or to say mine are better or worse than anybody's numbers, but simply just to share my journey. So if your numbers are not the same as mine, or if they're more than mine or they're less than mine, don't worry about it. Everybody is on their own journey and you're going to get there eventually. Just focus on your goals. We all have different business models, so if you only focus on doing what everybody else is doing, you are never going to reach your goals. You got to find what works for you. For me, what works best for me is having this be a part-time business, hiring out help as my business grows to take over tasks and limit my time working on this business, focusing on a really high sell-through rate, picking up only items that are going to sell quickly, and putting all of those items on multiple different platforms. That way more people can see my items. So that is what works best for me. The only numbers that I'm not going to be sharing within my reselling business are what I'm going to pay in taxes and how much I pay my helpers. For legal reasons and just moral reasons, I don't feel that I should share that information with you. So I will not be sharing that. And I know a lot of people don't have helpers, and so that might not even be a number in your business. All right, let's jump into those numbers. So on eBay, which was my main source of sales, it's also, if you're new to my channel, the platform that I started on and the one where all of my items get listed on first, and probably the one I'm the most well versed in. And so my eBay gross sales numbers for 2020, before anything is taken out, just what items sold for, was $49,774.46. That's pretty good. And then my second highest grossing platform was Poshmark. And on there, I sold $26,619.10. This was my first full-on year on Poshmark where I actually focused on Poshmark and worked on putting all of my items over there and actually did the things that Poshmark is asking me to do besides just listing and forgetting it. And it made a significant difference. My next highest grossing selling platform was Depop. I only have a few items listed on there, but to be honest, Depop did really well for the handful of items that I have over there, and I really like selling on that platform. So Depop was a whopping $716.37. Every platform except for eBay and Poshmark, I do not have all of my items listed on. I just take select items and move them over. My next highest grossing selling platform was Mercari, and I sold $465 on there. The next one was Etsy. I sold $337.58. And then Grailed, I sold just $297. So all those numbers include what buyers paid to me for shipping. So if they paid for shipping, that number was rolled into that gross sales number. So for all the reselling platforms that I sell on, that brings us to a gross sales total of $78,209.51. I just realized that I did have a couple sales directly from you guys, which thank you so much for that. I forgot to include that in these numbers, but it wasn't much, maybe a couple $100s. So just over 78,000 in gross sales for just reselling. Now, as I mentioned before, gross sales are before any fees or anything is taken out of that, which I will give you my net sales after fees and cost of goods here in a moment. But I also had some income on my affiliate platforms that I promote, which, by the way, speaking of promoting platforms, if you are interested in selling on all these multiple different platforms, if you would like to have a diverse income, I was able to do this using List Perfectly by using a cross-posting tool, which makes it really easy and it takes seconds to move items over onto these other platforms. If you are interested in using a cross-posting platform, I highly, highly recommend List Perfectly. They are awesome. If you go to the link tree down in my description, there is a link and also a code that you can use to get money off of your first month. But obviously without them, I would not have been able to have the sales on other platforms, which really help to supplement my income. So I do share my affiliate code with everybody. And if people sign up, then I get a small portion of what they pay for their monthly List Perfectly fees. I'm also on Retail Assistant, which is another one that I highly recommend. What Retail Assistant does is they share your Poshmark closet for you, which saves tons of time. Also a link down in my link tree with a link and a code. And then the other affiliate program is Amazon affiliates, where I share links to products that I really like and use that I frequently purchase off of Amazon. If you guys click on those links and you buy anything, not just the link you've clicked on, but anything, I think within 48 hours, I get a small percentage, and I mean a very small percentage of your order. So thank you to anybody who has done that. And if you would like a free way to support my channel and you're already going to be shopping on Amazon, please use my links down in the description. And then I also had YouTube revenue, which most of you know, I've only been on YouTube for a little over a year now. I just got monetized. I think at the end of October is when I was eligible to be monetized. It was right around my birthday. So I was just able to start making money on YouTube, which I am so happy about. So I've actually only been paid for 1 month. I am about to get my earnings for another one, but since we're in 2021 and I'm getting paid for that month in 2021, I think I'm just going to put that into year 2021. But anyways, the first month of YouTube, I made $291 for my first month being monetized on YouTube. And so if we include everything that I made with YouTube and with affiliates, that was $1,067.23 additional revenue from, again, YouTube and affiliate links. So that would bring my gross sales total to $79,276.74. I didn't have any cost of goods or like fees for the YouTube or the affiliates. So now going down into some of the cost, those are strictly just for reselling platform purposes. So this is a big number. I'm a little embarrassed to say this number because it is a big number, but I have to remember that I was trying to grow my business in 2020. I hired helpers, and so I basically doubled the amount of inventory that I was bringing in for them to list. So on inventory, meaning the clothing, shoes, or whatever that I purchased at thrift stores to flip online, I spent a total of $17,605.18. That is a lot of money. But in 2020, we also had the pandemic and I couldn't go shopping for months. So I had to purchase things online, and that was basically double the cost of goods that I would usually spend. So there was a small portion of why that number is so high. And then again, like I said, I basically doubled the amount of inventory that I was bringing in when I hired on help. So initially I was kind of upset with myself for that number, but I think it was necessary to grow my business. On supplies last year, I spent $4,887.91. I purchased a desktop, so I was using a computer that restarted itself like every 30 minutes or so. So I got a desktop. I've since got some accessories for that. I purchased my cell phone, which is part of my business. I don't buy a whole lot of shipping supplies, but what comes out of my pocket are the clear plastic bags that I store stuff in, my inventory labels, my thank you cards, and my thank you stickers. So all of those came out of my pocket. So those are going to be included in supplies. And then just various things. Like I said, my inventory grew significantly. So I also had to purchase things for inventory like racks and totes, which can get so super expensive. But I had to purchase a lot of those this year. So I attribute that number to being so high for that reason. Again, a necessary cost to grow in my business. And then of course, we had platform fees, and I'm not going to do a breakdown of each of those numbers because platform fees are different on Poshmark, on eBay, on, all the other sites that I sell on, but I will share my net numbers. So net would be taking my gross sales amount, subtracting what I spent on inventory, subtracting what I spent on supplies, subtracting all the fees on all of the platforms, and any of the services that I also used, like I pay for List Perfectly and like I pay for Reseller Assistant every month. Subtracting all of those things brings me to a net total of $39,661.88. Again, this number is before I pay my employees. Technically, they're not employees. Technically, they're independent contractors, but that's what I'm going to call them for the purpose of this video. So $39,661.88 gives us a net percentage of 50.71% of my gross income. And of course, after I take out what I paid for help, I will then have to account for taxes. But at the same time, I will also get deductions because I own a small business. So I'm not sure if those numbers surprise anyone, if they were way less than you thought or way higher, but I did want to give a good understanding of, if you are reselling, what your margins might look like. For most people, I think it averages around 50%. If you are, doing about the same business model that I'm doing, you're going to make about 50% of your sales to put back into your pocket before taxes. And then if you do have help, I'm going to imagine I fall somewhere between 40 and 50%. So again, everybody has different business models. If you're not hiring help, you're probably going to reap more benefits, but you're going to work more. So it's a give and take. I'm still really happy with about $39,000 in net because that is most people's full-time income. And I was doing this for probably only an average of 25 hours a week. So I'm really happy with this. And in 2021, I'm going to continue trying to reduce the amount of time that I'm spending on my reselling while still growing my income. That is my plan. So some reflections on 2020 as far as my reselling business goes. I wanted to share a couple things that I learned and just kind of where my headspace is at. So one of the biggest things for me was I became quickly overwhelmed as I was growing my business and bringing in more inventory. A lot of things would get put into little piles, like things that needed repaired or things that needed clean. Or I'd put shoes in one pile, and because I like to bulk list everything, I wanted to wait until I had enough shoes to even start tackling that pile. And quickly my death pile or death piles became out of hand. Even though they were organized, I would just see stuff everywhere. And for me mentally, that's not good. I need kind of a minimalist area workspace. That way I don't have to see things that need done. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so if I can't get it done right then and there, I usually don't do it. And also with the pandemic, a lot of people were saying, well, death piles are good. Now you have something to list. And it really gave me just excuses for why I wasn't getting things done. The problem with having a death pile is if you let things sit for too long, they can quickly become out of style, less desirable, or the price might drop on that item. So for me, even with the pandemic, I did not learn to have backlog. I am not the kind of person who wants backlog. If something were to happen and I can't go sourcing again, I'd rather just have a plan in place. I don't want to have a bunch of inventory sitting. So with my scheduling, which I will be scheduling days, one of those days is going to be getting this office back in order every single week. So if something were to happen and I can't go sourcing, one of the takeaways also from 2020 is that nothing is promised, and I really need to have a plan in place if unforeseen things happen. So any circumstance where I might not be able to go and source, I'd like to have something written down, a plan of action that I can go and reference and know exactly what to do and know exactly how to handle my helpers in those situations. Speaking of helpers, one of the things that I learned in 2020 was I really wish I would have gotten help sooner. Getting helpers, hiring helpers, and paying helpers is a huge expense. And most of the time you are going to break even or make significantly less that month when you hire an employee. The idea is that they're going to help you make more money, but you do have to take the time to train them, which can take you away from other things. Plus you're having that added expense of setting them up. Also, they are probably not going to be working as efficient as you the first month. It's probably going to take them a while to get in. So I really had to tell myself and learn that the first month of getting a new helper is probably going to be a month that I'm going to break even or make significantly less than I normally do. And I think in the future, I would like to plan and have a savings dedicated to just that so that I feel more comfortable when that happens. But I really wish I would have gotten help sooner. Having helpers just really propelled my business again after that first initial month. Once they were trained, once they were efficient, once they've had, constant reinforcement of the right way to do things, it's been a breeze. And my sales have significantly climbed since I've had help and really had constant activity in my store and in my closet. They also taught me that things do not have to be perfect. They just need to get done. Like I've mentioned before, I'm somewhat of a perfectionist and I don't like starting things unless I can get them done in the right way. And having more helpers has really taught me that as long as things get done, it's okay. They don't have to be perfect and nobody is going to do it exactly the same way that I do. And if I spend time nitpicking everything, I'm going to miss out on the important things that need done in my business. Better for things to just be done versus them being perfect. And then one of the biggest reinforcements that 2020 gave me as far as my reselling business and my sales go, I really learned, and I already knew this, but this was just heavily reinforced because I focused on it this past year, is that consistency is the key to growth in reselling. I get a lot of messages on YouTube and on Instagram where people are watching my videos and they're wanting to make the same amount that I am, or they want to make the same sales, and they see all my sales and they think, well, I should be selling that much every week too. And it really takes consistency and growth over time to get here. And if you really focus on consistency every single day, your sales will grow and they will climb, but it doesn't happen overnight. I had to remind myself of that this year when I was hiring help, that growth does not happen overnight, and having consistent activity in your store over time and over the span of a couple of months will really jolt you into that next level. So even if you don't see results right away, keep consistently listing, keep consistently doing all of the best practices that you know of on these platforms, and you will see growth. Every single year that I have been reselling, even when I did it working in retail, my business has at least doubled in revenue. This coming year, I don't know if I'm going to double because I don't know if I myself with a couple helpers can make that happen. But as I mentioned in that 2021 goals video, I would really like to hire a manager to help with that. If that doesn't happen, my goal for next year would be to hit 120,000 in revenue. If I do hire that employee, I would at least like to double to 140,000. These are big numbers, but again, I know if I consistently do the things that I'm doing, I will see that same doubling in growth. All right, guys, so those are my numbers from 2020. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Let me know what your takeaways from 2020 were. I know the year sucked, but I think for some of us resellers, it was actually a blessing in disguise. As always, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.